Aisha was 18 years old when her life changed forever. She lived in a small town where everyone knew each other. Her mornings began with sunlight entering her room. Her evenings were filled with books, dreams, and quiet hope. She wanted to become a teacher. She believed knowledge could change lives. Her parents were proud of her. They trusted the world. They believed their daughter was safe. Every day, Aisha walked to college with a smile. She enjoyed the sound of birds and the rhythm of her footsteps. She planned her future in her mind: a small home, a classroom full of children, a peaceful life. One evening, she stayed late at college. The sun was setting. The road was quiet. Her phone battery was dead. She felt tired, but calm. Suddenly, a car slowed down beside her. The doors opened. Hands grabbed her. A cloth covered her mouth. Her screams disappeared into the empty road. In seconds, Aisha was gone. The town searched. Her parents cried. Posters were printed. Police questioned everyone. But there were no answers. Aisha woke up in darkness. Her head hurt. Her body felt weak. She was in a locked room. The walls were cold. The air was heavy. Fear entered her heart. She called for help. No one came. Days passed, then weeks, then months. She was moved from place to place, always hidden, always silent, always afraid. She was told she would never go home. She was told the world had forgotten her. But inside her heart, something refused to die. Hope whispered softly, "Survive. Wait. Stay alive." She marked days by the sound of footsteps. She counted years by the pain in her body. She remembered her parents' faces. She remembered her dreams. She promised herself, "If I live, I will be free." Years passed slowly. Each day felt heavier than the last. Aisha learned silence. She learned patience. She learned how to survive without being seen. She was kept inside a house far from the city. The windows were covered. The doors were locked. She saw the sky only through cracks. Loneliness became her shadow. Fear became her companion. But her mind stayed awake. She listened carefully. She observed everything: the habits, the mistakes, the routines. She memorized footsteps. She noticed when voices changed. She counted the hours when the house was quiet. Sometimes she was treated like she did not exist. Other times like she was a burden. She grew older in captivity. 18 became 19. 19 became 20. Years stole her youth, but not her will. At night, she closed her eyes. She imagined freedom. She imagined walking in sunlight. She imagined her mother's voice. She told herself, "One chance is enough." Then, one winter night, everything changed. The house was unusually silent. No shouting, no footsteps. The door was not locked. Her heart raced. Fear screamed, "Stay." Hope whispered, "Run." She stood still for a long moment. Then she moved. Slowly, quietly, she opened the door. Cold air touched her face. The sky was dark, but open. She ran, barefoot, without direction. Branches cut her skin. Her lungs burned, but she did not stop. She ran for her life. After hours, she reached a road. Lights appeared. A car stopped. She collapsed. For the first time in 7 years, Aisha was free. When Aisha opened her eyes, she was surrounded by strangers. Bright lights hurt her vision. Voices sounded distant and unclear. Her body was shaking. Her hands would not stop trembling. She did not know where she was. Fear returned like a storm. She tried to move. She tried to speak. Her voice refused to come out. A woman gently held her hand. She said, "You are safe now." Those words felt unreal. Safe was a word Aisha had almost forgotten. At the police station, questions began. Names, dates, places, faces. Each question felt like reopening old wounds. Her mind was tired. Her heart was heavy. 7 years of silence pressed against her chest. When the police contacted her family, time seemed to stop. Her parents had aged. Their hair had turned white. Their eyes carried endless pain. But hope was still alive. When they saw Aisha, they cried. They held her. They refused to let go. Aisha stood frozen. She wanted to feel happiness, but her body did not remember how. Home felt strange. The walls were familiar, but distant. The bed felt too soft. The silence felt too loud. At night, she could not sleep. Every sound felt like danger. Every shadow felt like a threat. She woke up screaming. Sweat covered her body. Her heart raced as if she was still running. People called her brave. People called her miracle. But no one saw the battles inside her mind. She felt guilty for surviving. She felt broken. She felt lost in time. The world had moved on. Technology had changed. People had grown. But Aisha was still 18 inside. She avoided mirrors. She avoided crowds. She avoided questions. Why did this happen? How did you escape? Are you okay now? She was not okay. Doctors suggested therapy. At first, she refused. Talking meant remembering. Remembering meant pain. But slowly, she agreed. In the therapy room, she sat quietly, her hands clenched, her eyes fixed on the floor. The counselor spoke softly. "You are safe here." Weeks passed before Aisha spoke. One word, then another. Each sentence felt like lifting a mountain. Each memory burned. But with every session, the weight became lighter. She learned that healing was not forgetting. Healing was facing the pain without letting it control her. She learned that fear was a response, not a weakness. Her parents supported her. They waited patiently. They loved her without questions. Slowly, Aisha stepped outside. She felt sunlight on her face. She felt wind in her hair. The world still scared her, but she refused to hide forever. She enrolled in classes again. Sitting in a classroom felt strange. She was older than others, but she did not give up. Her hands shook while writing. Her heart raced during exams, but she kept going. Some nights were still dark. Some memories still returned, but she reminded herself, "I escaped. I survived. I am here." With every sunrise, Aisha took one step forward, not because she was fearless, but because she chose life. Healing was slow. Some days were calm. Some days were heavy. She learned that progress was not straight. Some mornings she felt strong. Some mornings she could not leave her bed. Therapy became a part of her life. She learned to breathe through fear. She learned to ground herself in the present. She learned that the past no longer owned her. Her counselor taught her to name her emotions: fear, anger, sadness, hope. For years, she had buried them. Now she was learning to feel again. Education was difficult. Her concentration was weak. Her memory sometimes failed. But she remembered why she started. She wanted to help others. She wanted her pain to have meaning. She studied psychology. Understanding the mind helped her understand herself. Each lesson gave her power. Each exam she passed felt like victory. There were moments of doubt, moments when shame whispered lies, moments when she felt different from everyone. But she reminded herself, different does not mean broken. Her parents stood beside her. They celebrated small achievements, a passed test, a day without panic, a full night of sleep. Slowly, Aisha built routines, morning walks, journaling, breathing exercises. She learned how to trust again, not everyone, but herself. She spoke at support groups. At first, her voice shook, her hands trembled, but when she saw others listening, others finding strength in her words, something changed inside her. Her story no longer felt like a curse. It became a bridge for others. Years passed. The nightmares became less. The fear became quieter. Aisha graduated. She held her certificate with shaking hands. Tears filled her eyes, not because of the paper, but because of the journey. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a student, a daughter, a woman rebuilding her life. She volunteered at trauma centers. She listened. She understood. She never judged. She knew healing looked different for everyone. Each person she helped healed her a little more. Her life still had scars, but scars were proof of survival. Aisha stopped asking, "Why me?" She started asking, "How can I help?" The answer became her purpose. She was preparing for the final step, turning survival into service. Her journey was not ending, it was transforming. Same. But she also knew it could still be meaningful. She chose to move forward with purpose, not forgetting the past, but not living inside it either. She completed her training and became a counselor, working with women who had survived violence, abuse, and loss. When survivors walked into her office, they saw someone who understood, not from books, but from life. She listened without interrupting. She believed every word. She reminded them that survival itself was strength. Many days were emotionally heavy. Many stories reminded her of her own pain. But instead of breaking her, they strengthened her. She learned that helping others was healing her too. Aisha started speaking publicly, at schools, at community centers, at awareness events. She talked about safety, about silence, about hope. Her voice no longer shook. Her eyes no longer looked down. She stood tall. Her parents watched her with pride. They saw not the girl who was taken, but the woman who returned stronger. Aisha built a simple, peaceful life. She enjoyed morning sunlight. She loved books again. She smiled freely. Some scars remained, but they no longer controlled her. She understood that healing was not becoming who she was before. Healing was becoming someone new, someone wiser, someone stronger, someone compassionate. Years after her escape, Aisha visited the road where she had collapsed. She stood there quietly. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you." Not to the pain, but to the strength that carried her through. Her story spread, not as a tragedy, but as proof. Proof that darkness can be survived. Proof that time does not erase courage. Proof that a woman can rebuild her life even after losing years. Aisha was no longer defined by what happened to her. She was defined by what she chose to become. A survivor, a healer, a voice for the unheard. And her journey sent one clear message to the world. Even after 7 years of captivity, a woman can rise, heal, and create a life full of meaning.